I'm Dr. Shetlin, and we're here with Dr. Jeff States today. And then the exciting thing about taking a moment with Dr. States is he's spent the majority of his career specializing and helping train and certify doctors and attorneys in personal injury. He's worked boots on the ground, side by side with Dr. Croft and the San Diego Spinal Research Institute. And then he's just expanded his career beyond that, and is just a very helpful individual in helping us as practitioners recognize what we don't know, that we can then sharpen our skills properly and become a black belt in personal injury to better serve our patients and the community, and help the attorneys so that they can better serve their clients. And together as a team, we can really help our patients get better and get the better financial restitution they deserve after an injury. So Dr. States, I want to thank you for being with me today. I know you've been on the road. Thanks for taking some time. So if there were some takeaways today, if there's anything else you need to introduce about yourself, please do. Otherwise, are there any takeaways that we can give our listeners today, short and sweet? We're trying to keep these things short for them. Personal injury and COVID era.
Well, this is a very interesting time as everybody figured out. And it's really interesting that depending on where we are in our practice and what state we're in and what our attitudes are about the whole COVID thing going on can depend on where our practices go now and in the future. We have found that a lot of people are kind of like locked down. They don't have the freedom to travel and do all the things they do on a daily basis in their old lifestyle. And so it becomes a very good time to get educated, to get training, and get the background so that you can then use these tools. When this thing clears, we're going to have a whole different world. And PI, as you have mentioned, is still the financial frontier in healthcare. And it's a very good one and very lucrative now. In fact, throughout my career of Personal Injury Training Institute, I've not ever pushed the money variable. But today is the first time I'm going to push it a little bit, because part of what I do is to help people to make money. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a 1 ounce US
Nice.
Eagle gold. I bought these and they were about $900. And right now it's worth $2,000 almost. 1950. So that's a good way to build income by having the ability to buy stuff that you want, whether it's homes, cars, whatever. But the most important thing is to take care of our families. The other thing I found really interesting in COVID is I also have a second opinion practice, and I'm not pushing that right now, but that has expanded because attorneys are turning into their cases and trying to resolve them because they're not able to market. People aren't driving, and when they're not driving as much, we have less road miles traveled, which means less people crashing. So they're trying to wrap up old cases. So if you had already had all these things in place like I have for decades, that part of my, because I can be away from patients and do second opinion case reviews, legal reviews, things to help out and resolve people and their cases. Also, part of the problem, patients aren't doing what they've been able to do, and so they have more time to think about their past case, and they want to get them resolved. There are many that are in the resolve phase of the personal injury case. People that are trained and certified can do a great job of helping them right now. At the same time, I don't want to be negative about practices. Some people are having a real hard time with their practice in COVID. I've had colleagues that have shut down their practice, clients that have shut down their practices, and others that have hardly beat and are being highly successful. So just like everything else, there's a mindset. And if your mindset is right, life will always provide change. And we have to, with the right mindset, be able to continue our work and help people as essential workers.
Yeah, that's well said. It's weird to see how when the challenge is pushed, how some people just close their doors and other people just soldier on. And the beautiful thing about personal injury, I think we can soldier on. It gives us a dip if it's slowing down for the reasons you just said, where we can invest in ourselves with training and sharpen the saw so we're even more prepared, or can market ourselves better in this time so that when the floodgates turn back on, we are prepared for that.
Absolutely. We want to be prepared. And part of what the training that we do is we not only help you make money and a lot of money, we help you save. So those that are focused on saving money, by doing the right things and not making huge mistakes, you can save a lot of money. In fact, I had a doctor call me yesterday, and he's taken multiple PI courses. He's back east. And one of the things he did is he called me and he said, I'm having in fact, several cases. And what happens is I use the Croft guidelines. I use the AMA guidelines with AMOSI. I have these documented ligamentous injuries. I put it in my report. I use the Croft guidelines. I've treated these patients within the Croft guidelines. And then the insurance company did a paper review. And he doesn't know what to do about the results of this paper review. And part of what we do in our training is we teach you those things. We teach you not only how to preemptive strike those issues, but we teach what to do. We have a whole course on defense medical examiners and how to address and deal with those things. And if you're prepared and you say the right thing, the road is a lot easier and smoother later down because you did the groundwork initially. And so what his frustration was is the paper reviewer basically said, oh, I don't use the Croft guidelines, so you get 17 visits. Well, he got that response, and a few weeks later got a bill from the insurance company requesting all of the balance of all the visits after 17. That's a whole lot more money than what my training is and what some of these other programs are. And the interesting thing is he's with one of the hot PI experts in the nation, been with him for a long time, and has not solved this problem. And the reasons I created personal injury training, personal injury online trainings, is because too many doctors don't have the basic personal injury, haven't implemented the basics in their practice. Therefore, they can't stand up to these bully attacks by the insurance companies.
Yeah,
And they are
sense.
bullies, and they take advantage of people that don't know what they're doing. And so my point is, we created this training so that you're doing the right things at the right time, following the fundamentals, and yet we exponentially take you into some very high-tech stuff in personal injury that makes you very advanced as a specialist in personal injury.
That's the beautiful thing about what you do. And a lot of people think, oh, I've learned all I need to learn, and they just get comfortable. And comfortable is a dangerous place to be, doctors and attorneys. We need to always be learning and sharpening our skills because this is an ever-changing environment of personal injury. And we don't make the rules; the insurance companies do, and they can change the rules whenever they want. We've got to be game on. And what I love about your program, and I just want to thank you personally, Jeff, for I took your program, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago, and it
Right.
doubled my case values since taking your little $3,000 program. What a solid investment in myself. For somebody to join the Whiplash group for $5,000, it's not a lot of money compared to some of those programs that are out there. And to have that network of like-minded people and to get the certified training that's going to double their case values in most cases, even if it only doesn't double, but in my case, it doubled it, generating me, I calculated this last year, $1.96 million more than I would have made in my last 16 years of practice, thanks to my $3,000 investment with you. So it's like the ROI is so amazing that why wouldn't anybody do this? Like, oh, I already certified in some other program. Did you certify in Jeff's? No. Well, then what are you waiting for? Is how what I say. I thank
Excellent.
you for what you've made.
And that's what I discovered years and years ago. I was like a regular practitioner reaching out. I knew I needed a specialty, and what I did back in the early 90s is became board certified as an impairment rater because I started in the orthopedics program, didn't appreciate what was available locally. I took a year of the neurology program, and the system just died in my community, and it wasn't still available unless I traveled to the East Coast. That was just too much of a demand on me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I needed a specialty. And what now is, then I went to all of the experts, Dr. Croft, Murphy, Michael Freeman that showed up a little bit later, Nordoff, all these greats. And I would go home, flying home Sunday night saying, what can I do tomorrow to make a difference for Mrs. Jones? And it wasn't there. And I knew there was something that needed to take us from basics to advanced. And that's why I created this foundational program. But it's intense effort. And you will learn so much more than just the basics. But I just read the basics whiplash class and kind of that. It's 3 hours just on one course on the basics of whiplash. And we have multiple courses that build on top of that. So it's a very complex thing where anybody with a license can, whether they're attorneys or whether they're doctors, but that doesn't make you good at it or great at it. And the other thing, doctors, not only increase case value per case because you now are addressing things and communicating things more clearly, that then gets handed to the attorneys that can increase the settlement values, and they can go up exponentially if they do the right things. And attorneys will learn who help them get a better case value, and they will start in those attorneys versus those a $3,000 case. What about a $50, $100, $300, $5,000 case? And those that have time and time again, I hear how they've done exceptionally well. And it certainly makes in that patient's life if they get a higher dollar amount and get their bills paid. It also
Absolutely.
helps prevent some of the cuts that are out there. The attorney calls you up and says, gee, I can't pay you what your bill is, and we have to cut everybody's bill in order to make this case settle. But we have some place to help address those things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if that attorney can follow your information and knows its value, and then make it a highly successful case, then there's more money to pay everybody. And these problems are not as common as the everyday people that do regular cuts. So it's just frustrating to watch the bullies that are out there. But what I want you to do is be the strongest link in the case and have the information so that the attorneys that have taken the training know what you're saying and what its value is. And that way you do more service for the patient from diagnosis to settlement.
Yeah, and I think you bring a good point. The attorneys that have taken the course, I would encourage the doctors to encourage the attorneys that they work with, the ones they really like to work with, to attend the Whiplash Group seminars, to look into Jeff's program as well, so they can get certified too. And man, when you're speaking the same language, medical legal, on that case, like you just pointed out, they paved the way. They're the key player with the key information in the case. If the attorney knows how to leverage it, they shouldn't be asking for reductions. It's only the attorneys that don't know how to leverage that information.
And that to the next point. The insurance companies have playbooks that they use against different witnesses, and they have a great big thick playbook that's chiropractors, and teach some of the rules and some of the games that they play and how to address them. At the same time, if you know what you're doing and you're certified, excuse me, then you have more to testify about as an expert. There's a big difference with what a treating physician can testify about and what a PI expert can testify about. And you can get into crash dynamics and you can get into accident reconstruction and address some of those issues successfully and increase your value not only to the attorney, but to your practice, because the dollar amount you will go up in testifying. Many professionals are worried about testifying, and we have a very detailed program about the legal system and how it works and what your role is in it and what your role isn't in it. By having these certifications, you can then become a higher trained expert that expands not only what you can talk about, but the money you can make. And there's nothing to fear on testifying. It's work. It needs to be done. And it needs to be done by people that know the truth, that don't lie, deceive, and cheat for the insurance companies so that they can win.
All right, do you have any more takeaways for this day and age for helping doctors through COVID and through getting certified? I think we hit it pretty good, but any final words on that?
Well, let's time now to train. If you're not as busy as you were before, get the time to be educated. We're not doing big outdoor seminars or indoor seminars or group trainings. We've been PI online training for 10 years, and we have the latest technology. If you can watch YouTube, you can take the training, and the testing is much better than it was in the past. You take a class, you can take the test. We have workbooks that are now printable that you can now follow, and you can search them digitally. And so life is a whole lot better on the educational basis, while all these other companies are trying to catch up to how do we do all this time. We've already spent the money, set up the time, and made it as simple and easy as possible with high-tech ability to educate you. And it's not a talking head video like this. You're seeing what you have in your workbook's going to be on screen. And then if I go into a crash video or a deposition or an interview with a defense doctor, you see what's really going on. And one of the big advantages of what I do is on all this different type of crash testing, I tell you what's in the crash tests, the biomechanics of what's happening, and then what injuries to look for, what the diagnosis to be looking for to word it properly. So that puts you in best position, as well as helps that attorney now have the information they need for a more successful settlement. And know that it's there for you. It's been my life work, but I've created it in a way to make it easy, successful, and doable. And very few doctors have actually taken the training and completed it in the spectrum of things. And we want you to be one of the experts that have taken that big step in the right direction for you. And it's been training, It's been a lot of fun working with you over the years, Jay. I appreciate what you do and how you help these doctors to market. We are not a marketing company, but I can tell you, if you're certified, have training, and do an excellent, there's no better way to market yourself as far as being a credible PI expert.
Excellent. Yeah, and I just want to point out for the doctors that are thinking about your program, accountability is key. If they can hook it up and watch it on a computer, and they've got a buddy or two that they're taking the course with, and they've got their own personal laptops to take their tests, I think that's a great way, since we're not doing the big seminars anymore, we're doing the online. That's a nice tool, nice way to do it. So
my point is, go to Personal Injury Online Training Institute, sign in, log up, or go through UJ, get set up, and do what you need to do, and get going in the program. And I was mentioning the workbooks are yours for life. You can reference them, you can search them, you can grab that information, drop it into reports, and what we do is highly referenced. So, but it doesn't mean you have to be a research geek. I learned that after being a research geek for a couple decades. You don't have to do that to be successful in personal injury and to be an expert.
good.
And we spoon feed you.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for being with us today, and look forward to seeing you at our next live event when we can actually do one again. So
Love your events. They are the best, and just a lot of fun. So
right.
I hope this resolves quickly in the world, and that we can get back to some semblance of normality and more fun like we've had at your training.
Yeah,
So thank you very much, Dr.
Thanks,
Shetlin.
Jeff.